Greetings, salutations, and bienvenue. My name is Joe Bruschetto, and this is Memory Card News for the week of July 12th, 2018. Our top story this week, Fortnite Season 5 kicks off today, and Epic went hard to promote it. The time travel themed season of Fortnite popped off this morning after a week of mysterious teasers both in-game and in the real world. Last week, a massive rocket launched, causing these beautiful rifts in the map sky, which kicked off a slew of minor map changes and hints across social media about what Season 5 would comprise of. In the real world, though, the iconic llama pinatas began appearing all over Europe. There are 7 in total in cities like Paris, Warsaw, and 2 in London, but as of recording, it is unclear what significance the llamas have, and if anything about them changed with the arrival of Season 5. Back to the game though, with the new update, Epic has detailed the plethora of changes that are contained within version 5.0. Updates include nerfs to shotguns and SMGs, a golf cart vehicle large enough to fit the whole squad, and a new desert biome to the southeast portion of the map, just to name a few. Troll on over to Epic's patch notes to check out all the granular updates. Now I kind of dropped out with Fortnite around Season 3, Season 4, but I think it's really cool, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next story as well, that games are really permeating into like mainstream culture, and it's like these big ARG games with the llamas, just that games have entered such a public consciousness, I think is really cool, and I will always appreciate Fortnite for that. Even if it's not really the game for me, I've kind of fallen out of it. But a lot of these changes actually make me want to get back in, so we'll see. What hooks me, I suppose. Moving on, though. The Overwatch League signs a multi-year deal with Disney to stream on ESPN, ABC, and Disney XD. Disney and Blizzard Entertainment have announced that they reached a deal to bring the Overwatch League to televisions near you, if you still watch those things. The playoffs of Season 1 were streamed on ESPN3 last night, and the championship later this month will be streamed on the flagship ESPN channel, along with the entirety of Season 2 when that comes around. This deal, quote, amounts to hundreds of hours of live and highlight programming across 4 networks, according to ESPN, which will provide an unprecedented amount of cultural awareness for the title. The full schedule for the finals of Season 1 can be found in the ESPN article linked in this write-up. Now, again, kind of talking about like games really kind of coming to the forefront, and esports in particular, just how massive of an industry that is, I think is really cool. And maybe this is a hot take, but I don't think Overwatch would be doing as well if it didn't have the Overwatch League. Like, you know, when it first came out, it was really iconic because of the characters in-game, and now it's kind of iconic with the characters out of game, the players, the competitors, we'll say. I think has really done a lot to keep Overwatch alive in a way that character reveals just wouldn't have done. And I think, honestly, like, the updates have really slowed down with Overwatch. I mean, I guess there's probably only so many heroes you can put into a game like that and keep it all balanced, so the styming of it makes sense. But the league, I think, has done an awesome job of keeping this game alive. Far Cry 5 DLC takes players to Mars next week. Ubisoft is continuing to add varied content to their marquee shooter next week by taking players to Mars to rescue their stranded friends in the Lost on Mars expansion. The add-on looks to retain its Midwest charm while moving to a more sci-fi setting, at least according to the reveal trailer. You know, I'm not really sure how I feel about the Far Cry 5 DLC. The first one took players to Vietnam, during the Vietnam War. This one kind of taking it to Mars. I think, like, those are really cool gameplay opportunities, and I think they're nice variations on the formula. But a big part of what Far Cry 5 was, like, its DNA was being in the that Montana setting, and like fighting the cult, and how it all kind of interwove together. Like, contextually it just all made sense, I feel like. And I'd almost want to see them dive deeper into that and like get more I guess granular, just deep into that cult setting, because I think a lot of people feel like they didn't take their politics far enough, and the DLCs would be a great opportunity for that, to like explore more dynamics of the cult. But I mean, I guess that's the thing. Like Far Cry and Ubisoft in general is not known for being political. They just want to make fun games, and so trouncing around Vietnam, and I'm sure fighting aliens in Mars is gonna be fun. But it's kind of disappointing because it's just so close. It's right there. Ubisoft, come on. Hearthstone's newest expansion, titled the Boomsday Project, was revealed this week. Blizzard's popular card-building title will continue to grow next month with a new expansion. The expansion revolves around a mad science theme, with the gnome Dr. Boom taking the spotlight. Players will be able to take advantage of a slew of new mechanics, including class-specific legendary spells that will affect both players equally, called projects, and Omega cards, which offer additional perks if you play them when you have maxed out your mana. To me, I think Hearthstone is an awesome game. I was deep into the meta a couple years ago, but I've since fallen out. And I feel like at this point, it's just over. I'm not going to be able to get back into it. And I think that's something interesting not only Hearthstone should look at, but games as a service, kind of like not only player retention, which I'm sure, of course they definitely look at, but also how to keep the game accessible. Because I feel like games like Hearthstone and even Destiny 2 at this point are not very accessible to players who kind of fall out of the loop. Just a take there, I suppose. Bethesda will stop porting Skyrim when you stop buying it. Quote, millions of people every month, end quote, are playing Skyrim, according to Todd Howard at GameLab in Barcelona last week. Quote, that's why we keep releasing it. If you want us to stop releasing it, stop buying it, end quote. And to that, I say touche, Todd Howard. I mean, by all metrics, Skyrim has done gangbusters for Bethesda, so it isn't particularly surprising that Skyrim has released on everything under the sun, including Amazon's Alexa. My guttural reaction was, oh, stop releasing Skyrim, just work on Elder Scrolls 6, but I just played it on Switch, so I'm part of the problem, I'm not part of the solution here. I'm just gonna... on that one. Nintendo Switch is getting Warframe, another port from Panic Button. So I guess a popular free-to-play co-op game is coming to the Nintendo Switch, although we aren't sure when yet. Warframe is like a sci-fi action game featuring space ninjas. The port comes via Panic Button, who has brought Bethesda's Doom and Wolfenstein 2, along with Psyonix's Rocket League, to Nintendo's hybrid. The game is currently available on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Now, there's a lot of things, like I checked out some reviews, and the game doesn't look that great. Apparently, it's okay. Middling. We'll say middling. And I'm not a huge fan of Panic Button's ports. I know I just talked about Skyrim's port, although I'm not sure if Panic Button did that or not. I just don't want to say with any certainty. But, Rocket League runs well, and that's a good fit. But Doom and Wolfenstein 2, it really just feels like, doing it because we can, and not putting out like a quality product. Like, I think they're weird titles because I feel like if you play on any other platform, PS4, Xbox One, or a decent enough PC, you're gonna have just a phenomenally better time playing titles like Doom or Wolfenstein 2 on those consoles. So these games are really for people who are just playing on Switch, but I don't know, it reminds me of that Jurassic Park quote. Just because you can, or you spent too much time asking if you can, you never asked if you should. And that's how I really feel about the Panic Button ports, because they just don't seem like the best fit for Switch. But, it gets games into more players' hands, so whatever works. Darksiders 3 gets a release date. Darksiders 3 will be coming to a console near you this fall on November 27th, developer Gunfire Games has told IGN. Also revealed were the Collector's and Apocalypse editions, which cost $150 and $400 respectively, if that's your cup of tea. I feel like the Darksiders series has always been kind of like like knockoff Zelda, knockoff Dark Souls. I've never played them, so I can't say. I'll just preface that. But they just seem so bland. Like, I don't know. Nothing really stands out to me as like, oh, this is why I should play this over Zelda, over Dark Souls, anything that's like, you know, critically lauded. And $400 is crazy. Especially for a series that, like, at least to me, I mean, I'm sure it has its fans, but, and I'm sure people are going to buy this, because people will buy anything. There's a buyer for everything. But $400! That's the news, though. Games that came out this week, Shining Residence Refrain and Warhammer Vermintide 2. Both came to Xbox One. Shining Residence also came to PS4, PC, and Switch. Titles I saw no reviews or any buzz on, so if that's your cup of tea, I'm really liking tea today. Maybe search out some reviews and see if they're for you. Games coming out next week. Coming out tomorrow, we have Octopath Traveler for Switch and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for Switch and 3DS. Octopath Traveler reviews coming out today. It's really hard to say. IGN gave it a 9.3, but Kotaku is like very lukewarm on it. So I think it's kind of the typical JRPG. You know, it has its flaws. The story's bad, but like the combat's fun, and my God, it's a beautiful game. So by no means like a masterpiece, but I think if you like JRPGs, you're really gonna like Octopath Traveler. And I'll probably end up picking it up, but I might wait for a price drop. I'm not sure. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, port of a Wii U game, now coming to Switch and 3DS. That one a little more concisely reviewed, like consistently, I should say. Just looks cute. I really want to play it. So I'll probably end up picking that one up as well. And then coming out next Thursday on July 19th is Pool Panic. This, I think, an RPG, I guess. I'm not really sure what you'd call it. Coming to PC and Switch. This is an Adult Swim games where you're a cue ball with legs and you're just kind of like running around. But your movement is like getting shot like a cue, and you're not playing pool. You're just trying to complete different objectives. Looks really charming and really neat. I'm not sure how much, so we'll see. But that's the way it was for the week of July 12th, 2018. My name is Joe Bruschetto. Have a good one. Why'd that take so long?